Am I the asshole for telling my sister it's gold digging money she's borrowing from me? Not in the US. I, 33 female, have a sister, Sarah, 36 female. Sarah has always been good at studying and is our parents' pride and joy. She got into a very good university's engineering program on full scholarship and had a nice job offer upon graduation. We were all really proud of her. In comparison, I was a mediocre student. I got into a less prestigious university studying something Sarah said to our parents, quote, won't get me a good job. But my parents helped me pay my tuition nevertheless, though I had to work for spending money and other expenses. Through work, I met my now husband. He is from a family of generational wealth with their own business. We married when I graduated, and my sister said she was very disappointed in me for being a gold digger and that we women should not rely on a man's money to get ahead in life. Sarah left her company at 30 to start her own business with her now husband. The business was doing well until the pandemic. They struggled, but managed to keep their business together until this year.
There it is.
Sarah confessed to our parents that she needs a large amount of money to keep her business afloat. My parents suggested she borrow from me. Now, I do have the amount of money Sarah needs. My husband heads his family company and gives me spending money every month in addition to a credit card he takes care of. I don't work. My days are spent looking after our 2 sons and, for a few days a week, keeping his mom company. She's a lovely lady who's still very active and enjoys taking me places. Every time we go out, she foots the bill. So I do have a lot of money saved. Sarah and her husband approached me in private a few days ago. They asked to borrow money from me with a detailed plan on how to pay me back, though, with much lower interest than from a bank and a contract. Here's why I may be the asshole. I wrote them a check, and as I handed it to her, I looked her in the eyes and said, quote, you do realize you're borrowing my gold digging money, right? Sarah went red in the face before she immediately got up and walked away. Her husband looked a little awkward, but finally took the check and mumbled his thanks and left. Later, my mom called me and said I was being cruel to Sarah in her hard time, that there was no need to humiliate my sister like that.
No, it was necessary.
I simply told my mom she never said anything when Sarah called me a gold digger, so she has no say in the matter now. I still wonder if I'm the asshole.
Oh.
Let's talk relationship boundaries. I've been in a relationship with my boyfriend for 6 years now. These just kind of naturally happened. iPhone passwords. I was never like, give me your iPhone password. Just over time, like hanging out. This was before we were even dating. We were just around each other and each other's phones so much that we both learned each other's iPhone passwords. If one of us ever needs to do something on the other one's phone, like, oh, could you go and send this while I'm driving or whatever, we can just unlock it and do it, and no one's ever weird about their phones. Going out without each other, boys' nights and girls' nights. I do not care. He does not care. When you're in a relationship, you typically don't even want to go out as much. Yeah, like it'd probably be like a red flag if he wanted to go out every single weekend without me. But 90% of the time, if we go out, we're together anyway. If you're in a relationship where you guys have trust, there really shouldn't be an issue there. And that brings me to my next point. These people who try to stop their significant other from going out or freak out on them all the time and are so insecure, you're never going to be able to prevent someone from cheating on you. If they want to do it, they're going to do it. You can only control yourself. So you have to know that if they did cheat, you would leave and you would be okay. There's no need to ever act controlling. Girl best friends. My boyfriend doesn't really have a girl best friend, but he has friends that are girls that he's been friends with since like high school or middle school. I'm friends with them now too. My perspective is like anyone of the opposite gender that you were friends with before, like they're gonna be friends with you now too. Like you guys are a package deal. And that's my opinion on making new friends. That would be really strange if he went and made like a brand new girl best friend without me. Like, no, we make our friends together now, unless it's the same gender. Any new girlfriends that he's going to make are going to be my girlfriends that I make. And same with guys. Like, I'm not going to be out here making a brand new guy friend. Instagram. Definitely, I don't like the idea of like my boyfriend following back any girls that he doesn't know. And of course, I don't want him liking any provocative pictures. I don't care about liking any other girl pictures, really. I do think it's like really embarrassing and cringy when a guy's likes are showing up on like an Instagram model's page. Like, why are you even liking that? Single or not, it's like you look like you're down bad. I don't know. I've never like gone through and been like, you need to unfollow these people. Also think it's a red flag if your boyfriend hides you from their Instagram profile. Like, it should be obvious enough. My boyfriend is a little bit of an exception here because he makes music, so he definitely wants to give off like an artist image. If you look through his dumps and stuff, I'm always there. Staying friends with exes. No. That's where I draw the line. I don't think there's any reason for you to be talking to your ex, staying in any sort of communication with your ex. Like, that needs to be let go. A while ago, my boyfriend's ex used to always try to come back into his life. I should actually like tell a separate story time about that, because that was crazy of her. Going on trips without each other. Yeah, totally. I did like a South Carolina girls trip last year, a Nashville girl trip. He went to Austin, Texas. He'd been to LA with his boys, and that's fine. We also do share each other's locations just for like safety. And my boyfriend is chronically late, so I can just check his location to see if he's left yet without having to call him 50 times. I don't see why that would be an issue unless you're sketchy. Like, what is the reason that you wouldn't want to share locations? I do feel like all couples should share locations.
I'll tell you the inspiring story of when my boyfriend cheated on me. Found out and did nothing about it because I couldn't fathom living without it. First of all, how I find out is sad. It's New Year's Eve. We're up in the country at a cottage. He goes for a walk. His phone is on the night. I've never looked through someone's phone, so I didn't, but then it lit up and there was a girl's name on it. Never heard this girl's name. We've been dating for 2 years. What's that? I open it and it's just the middle of a conversation, right? Saying something like, oh yeah, that sounds good. And then there's nothing above it and nothing below it. So he deleted the conversation. He's continuously deleting the conversation with this girl. So I know now immediately that something's going on. We are going to a New Year's Eve party in like 2 hours from this point, and we are not at home. Like, I can't leave. I can't just dip. But we just get ready for the party, and I know this piece of information, and he's acting kind of normal. I know everything's obviously through a skewed lens. I'm like, I don't fucking know. Breaking up with him really wasn't an option because I was too pathetic for that. So I was like, not mad. We get ready for this New Year's party, go to it, weird vibes because I know he's cheating on me. He probably caught a vibe from me because the clock gets to 12. We're not even each other's New Year's kiss. I think I gave my cousin a hug. Like, I don't even know where he was. Tonight we get back home. I'm like, I'm gonna put this shit out of my head. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see anything. Something worth noting is that we went to different universities. So he was just home for winter break. Right before we went up to the cottage for New Year's though, he got this really intense illness and I'd never really seen him sick before. And he like was shivering. He was just out, down for the count. So we spend the rest of the week together and he goes back to school, and then I'm booking my flights to go out and see him and sending them to him. I'm like, I'm gonna get on this one, whatever. And he calls at school. This is worth noting. I was like in the common room. He's like, yeah, I just feel like this isn't gonna work anymore and whatever. Distance is just getting too hard. And I go, stop it right now. I know what's happening. You've met someone and her name is Claire. Poor girl. I've honestly been telling this story for so long. This has provided me with years of content. I always drop her name too. I'm like Taylor Swift putting little Easter eggs in the, I'm like Taylor Swift. Not an Easter egg. It's just fully her name. Anyway. And he goes, how did you know that? Before I ever saw this on TikTok, this is 10 years ago. I go, I had a dream that you were cheating on me with a girl named Claire. Now he thinks I'm a witch, freaked out. He takes it back. Doesn't take it back. I convince him to take it back. I go, listen, I don't care. You did what you did. Let's just move on from here. I know what you did. You don't have to feel guilty. He's like, okay, bye. I'm like, okay, bye. So now I go and book my flights. Right when I'm going to press confirm, he calls me again. He goes, I don't love you anymore. I'm dumping you. Bye. And I'm like, it was actually the right move on his part because I apparently had the ability of talking him out of it. He just had to be like, this is happening. And I was like, no. This is where shit gets funny. Now I'm in class. I'm sobbing. Like, he hung up. He's not picking up the phone. I'm obviously psychotically calling him back. He's like, no. Self-worth on the floor. Confidence, never heard of her. So 2 days before my birthday, but that's irrelevant. Well, is it? I think it adds to the story. What also adds to this story is that it was an ice storm. I don't know if you know what an ice storm is. It means like negative 25 degrees or whatever that is in American, negative 30. I don't know. Can't walk. Everything's covered in ice. Like, look up the 2014 ice storm. I'm outside. I'm freezing. It's my birthday. Back to my apartment. Thank God I lived with my cousin. I go downstairs. He's having all the boys over for the hockey game. I walk in sobbing. I think there were 20 guys in there. They didn't even know what to do. My cousin, bless his heart, runs down to the convenience store, grabs a pack of cigarettes. He goes, you can smoke inside. I smoked the whole pack. Devastated. Next day, my dad comes and picks me up. I come down with the flu. I told you he had a flu before. My boy's flu does not go away. It's persistent. It's insane. It's lasting weeks. My birthday comes and goes. Go to the doctor. Mono lasts forever. My throat, white as a ghost. I'm out for a month. I can't go to class. I'm in 4th year university. At this point, I'm like, I'm not going to graduate. I'm like missing every picture me. 2 months later, still sick. 2 pounds soaking wet, tits gone, ass finished, lying on the ground, can't move in front of the fireplace. I'll show you where actually. I'm at my parents' house. I made a bed right here and I slept here for 2 months. I'm not even. Meanwhile, watching him happy happy as a clam with this, wasting away, not graduating school. And I'm like, that motherfucker probably got mono from her, then came home sick at Christmas, and then gave it to me. I was kicked. I was down bad. I won't lie. I was devastated. Honest, had depression. I did not give a shit if I woke up. And I remember thinking to myself, 2014, I will never relive this year again. This is the worst year of my fucking life. You could not pay me to go back to January, get dumped, get mono again, and watch this guy with his new fucking girlfriend. Social media was new. All I had were pictures. Just looking at people's pictures, them, pixelated. That was New Year's 2014. And do you know what I just did this New Year's 2024, 10 years later? Married another guy. I just married another guy. Isn't that hilarious? I thought my life was over. Crazy, but if you want to hear part 2 of that story, when he came home in summer and I orchestrated a meeting to sabotage him at a bar, made him have sex with me in an alley. If you want to hear that, comment down below. Wasn't that inspiring? I was just in my car today, and you know, on Sirius XM, it'll play a song and it'll say the year, and it was like 2014, and I was like, I feel like that song just came out yesterday, and I was like, that was 10 years ago. That saddest time of my life was 10 years ago.
Am I the astronaut for not showing up for my birthday dinner at a nice restaurant, knowing everyone was waiting for me, and my parents had to pay a deposit for the table? Oof. I'm 16 male, the second oldest of 4. My older sister, 18, has Down syndrome and is medically complex with complex needs. She also has food allergies. My younger sister, 13, has a host of food allergies, and some of them are very serious, and she's also on the spectrum. Then we have my younger brother, 11, and he has a lot of medical issues related to food and allergies that go along with it. We always try to make sure places are accessible for them, especially because my older sister is in a wheelchair. This does mean I can be overlooked. It does mean making sacrifices or accepting that things will never be as far as it would be for a kid in my family with less extra/special needs. I'm used to not getting my favorite dishes, and I'm used to not getting my top pick for vacations because my parents don't think it's accessible enough or autism friendly enough. I'm used to my siblings never getting turned down for that kind of stuff. After a while, it became something I expected. I was lucky that my maternal grandparents tried to make up for it when they could, and my best friend's family would also include me in their family for stuff like meals out. My favorite restaurant in our city is this Indian place. My favorite dish is their samosas. I never get to eat there with my parents and siblings, and we never get takeout from there because it's not deemed safe for all my siblings. Sometimes that stinks, especially when my parents proclaim they always get their kids' favorite food from their favorite restaurant for their birthdays each year. This year, my parents made a big deal over me turning 16, and they told me to pick my favorite place for us to have a family dinner for my birthday. A family dinner that included extended family. I told them my favorite place, and they told me that wouldn't work. I asked if they wanted my favorite place or a place catered to my siblings. They asked me if I didn't want to cater to my siblings, and I said no. They asked where I wanted to go. I said the Indian place. They gave me one of those looks and said they would give me one more time to think. A couple of weeks later, they asked me where I wanted to eat for my birthday, and I told them my answer had not changed. They asked me if I could really enjoy my birthday knowing it wasn't accessible and safe for my siblings to eat there, and I said yes, since it's meant to be my birthday and they wanted me to say my favorite restaurant. They told me that they would book the family favorite and went ahead and did that. The family favorite has nothing I actually like, I just tolerate it. They had everything planned, invited everyone, and when the evening came for the dinner, I just didn't go. My parents are furious with me. I had everything taken for a week, and they plan to continue the punishment in some way. My grandparents defended me, but my parents said I was rude. Am I the astronaut?
What was the moment you realized you had a fake friend? High school was just not great for me. I dealt with a lot of shit, but mainly I had a lot of instances of like fake friends. And this was one of them. There was this one bitch, let's name her Sandra for the story. She exposed the fuck out of herself. Embarrassing. This girl to my face always wanted to know my fucking business, always was so nice to my face, yada yada yada. But I always got a weird fucking vibe from her. Like I was just like, what is going on? Like girl, you act so weird. But I was an insecure little bitch, so I didn't say anything and I just took it because I was like, she's nice to me, whatever. And then this guy I was working with at the time comes to me one day and he's like, yo, Sahar, I need to tell you something. And I'm like, what's up? Keep in mind, Sandra and I don't work together, so I don't know how the fuck she would know this guy, but he's like, yeah, like Sandra made like a Twitter group chat and like all she does is talk shit about you. And I'm confused out of my mind because I'm like, no way, Sandra's so nice to my face and I'm not one to believe someone without like receipts. He lets me go on his phone and just kind of like read through the group chat. Y'all, my heart broke. Like the shit she was saying was fucking insane. She was ripping apart my looks, my body, my everything. Like no one else was saying anything except her. So after I finished sobbing and gaining new insecurities that I still have to this day because of the shit she said about me, I was like, fuck this bitch, I need to confront her. And if there's one thing I know about this girl is that she will avoid confrontation at all costs. I knew that if I texted her being like, hey, you fucking bitch, fuck you, I know what you said, she would ignore it. So I text her being like, hey babe, like, how are you? Whatever. She's like, I'm good. I'm like, can I call you? Like, I just really need to talk to you. And she's like, why? And I'm like, ugh, just boy drama, you know, like, I just need your advice. And she's like, okay, yeah, bet, like, call me in 10. Fucking dumbass. Then I call her and I'm like, hey, like, can I get your take on this, like, conversation? Like, it's so weird, like, the way this guy's texting. And then I start reading to her the fucking group chat, every vulgar little thing she said, and I'm like, so, like, do you want to explain that? She's like, man, I don't know, like, you're just, like, kind of, like, annoying, like, blah, blah, blah. Like, I didn't even mean it like that. Some stupid fucking dumb shit. Like, I will say, though, she wasn't denying that she said it. So, like, good for her, even though I had the receipts. So, it's like, And then after that, she proceeded to help the people in my grade bully me. And then because I am a dumbass, years later, I forgave her and we became friends again. Just for her to help in fucking me over again and making me even more depressed than I was in high school. And although I've never ever done anything to this bitch, even though she's fucked me over like 37,000 times, little old Sandra still talks shit about me and has me blocked on everything.
The worst type of friend to have is an insecure one, and no one can change my mind on this. Because they are the ones that will take the first opportunity to stab you in the back and become your enemy. What does an insecure friend look like? Let me tell you, because chances are you have one and don't even know it. An insecure friend will tell you they love you and call you their bestie, but they will always post the one group photo where your eyes are closed or you are mid-sneeze. They will make fun of you and put you down in front of other people. Remind you of embarrassing moments in front of your crush. Tell you your outfit is ugly and then go and buy the exact same thing next week. You get the idea. Not only is this person not your real friend, they are actually your number one hater. And chances are it's because they are jealous of you and you are making them insecure. Insecure people need to see themselves as better than everyone around them. And if this friend somehow perceives you as a threat, maybe they think you are prettier than them, smarter, more successful. Even though you might not be doing or saying anything to make them feel that way, it's all in their head and they will think that way regardless. If insecure people perceive that you are better than them in any way, they will use any means possible to put you down so you become insecure along with them. And they can finally start feeling better about themselves. And it is always the ones closest to you. Because when you do call them out, they can gaslight the hell out of you. Make you second guess yourself and calling you crazy for even thinking that they might be preying on your downfall. But all of these little things, even if they are not a big deal in the moment, they add up. Each one is a small sign that this person is insecure and could end up betraying you in a really big way. Unfortunately, I am speaking from experience. I have had a lot of insecure friends. Could literally start an entire series on it, but the worst was my best friend of 7 years, who ended up hurting me really badly when I needed her the most. Years after that friendship ended, I learned about this idea that insecure people make bad friends, and I suddenly realized that all the signs were there the entire time. And I don't think I'm quite ready to share all the details of that situation online, especially because it was deeply painful and took me a very long time to process and get over. But trust me, you do not want to be friends with or even keep someone in your life whose entire mission is to put you down. That is not your job, and you do not deserve to become their punching bag. So if you're listening to this and recognizing these signs in one of your friends, it is so much better for you to end it now than wait until the day they decide to betray you or become a literal clone of you. Just some food for thought.
Am I wrong for pretending not to recognize my husband at a restaurant? I, 30 female, just want to say that my husband, River, 26 male, is a wonderful, funny, kind person. He's also incredibly handsome. I am not. I've noticed that he's embarrassed and ashamed when he introduces me as his wife to his coworkers. This has happened a few times. He shuffles awkwardly, he doesn't look anyone in the eye, and he makes a strange smile and immediately tries to veer the conversation away to something else, only when he says I'm his wife. The events were miserable for him. I stopped going to his events and now they are a success. It used to hurt, but I just realized that's just how the industry is, and people do judge him and talk behind his back because of what I look like. People do that in general because he's more attractive than me. He told me that he's trying very hard to succeed at his new job, and his new boss was an insanely judgmental person. She destroyed the career of an employee who reported the team for exclusionary behavior and fired someone who wore the same jacket as her once, for example. My coworker and I went to a fast casual restaurant for lunch yesterday. It wasn't as crowded as the other places during the lunchtime rush. My husband, his boss, and his coworker were already there unbeknownst to me. However, it turns out that River's boss and my coworker went to the same business school. They caught up and introduced us all to each other. Instead of saying that he's my husband, I shook his hand and said, "Nice to meet you." I sat next to my coworker and across from his coworker. I didn't say he was my husband, but neither did he. I felt like he was looking at me, but when I looked, he was looking away. When I got home later that night, he was crying. He said he didn't know what he did for me to ignore him, and if our marriage meant so little, why didn't I just take off my rings? I told him I said I didn't want to make him ashamed of me. He got very quiet. My mom said I was acting ridiculous, but my dad agreed with my reasoning. So, am I the asshole?
One of the most embarrassing fucking things I've ever done in my entire life. I'm in high school, I'm 16. I'm in Spanish class. I have a crush on this boy. The teacher says for extra credit, you could either sing a song in front of the entire class or you could draw a portrait of somebody. Yeah. I decide in my fucked up mind to draw a portrait of the boy I had a crush on. It was a homework assignment. You had until the end of the week to do it. And when you got to class on Friday, you had to turn in your portrait. I tried so fucking hard on this portrait. Friday rolls around. I'm like, damn, I ate with this portrait. I sit in class. The people that chose to sing start singing in front of the class. He calls them up one by one. They finish. They get their extra credit. Then he goes, okay, now everybody that drew a portrait, I'm going to call on you one by one. Each of you have to come up here, show your portrait, tell everybody who it is and why you drew them. When I tell you I was fucking shitting, I'm like, no fucking way. No way, no way, no way. Before I even have a chance to shit myself, I get called up first. Said crush did not know that I drew him. I can't think quick enough. I can't lie on my feet that quick. I was too young. I was a fetus. I get up there and say, hello class. I decided to draw my best friend XYZ, who is my crush. That was my crush. He was one of my best friends. He's looking at me like, you fucking drew me, bitch. The teacher goes, why? Why did you draw him? I'm so nervous. I start babbling off like shit. I think he has a good facial structure. He's one of like my best friends. Haha. I try to make it seem like a joke. All the while, my crush is literally staring a hole through me. Mind you, while I'm giving this presentation, I have to hold the portrait up like this while I'm talking. You ever see that scene in Napoleon Dynamite when he draws his crush and she literally... Let me show you. This is the girl. So imagine me standing in front of my Spanish class, drew a picture of my crush, and the picture looks like something like fucking this. To say I was mortified, my face was beet fucking red. I finished my little presentation. I turn it in. I go sit down next to him because I sit down next to him. And he turns around. He goes, you drew me?
Unfortunately, another one of my biggest fears became a reality this past weekend. For those who are not aware, I work graveyard. This was one of those nights where I was like, oh no, like if I stop and put gas, I'm gonna be late. I know better. This night, I ended up arriving to work with 2 miles left in my car, and 2 miles was enough for me to go to the gas station that's by my work. Really quickly, I want to say, do not do what I did, and please prioritize your safety. I understand your job is very important, but like, girl, if you ain't safe, then you're not gonna make it to your job. So I make it to work, 4 hours pass, and then it was time for me to take my lunch. This particular night, I wasn't hungry, and I'm just gonna take advantage of this time to fill in my tank. That way, by the time I get off, I can just go home. So here I go, taking my happy self to the gas station at 1 a.m. And before anyone yells at me, I am aware that I should not be going to the gas station alone at 1 in the morning. I go to the closest pump by like the little stores. I get out of my car, and then I start to put in my information, my zip code, pay for gas, whatever, things like that. Tell me why, I swear to you, I just get this instant gut feeling. I look left and I just see this white crashed up Tahoe driving really slow, and I just see this guy, like he's driving, but like at this point he's not even paying attention to the road. He's really driving and he's like looking at me like this, and I was so scared because next to him was a dog, and I was like, dude, I'm the worst overthinker. So the only thing that really crossed my mind is, what if he opens the door, he lets the dog out, and the dog comes and attacks me? This gentleman continues to drive really slow, and at this gas station there is a Wendy's. So this man parked at the Wendy's parking lot, but it's still nearby the gas pump where I was at. So like the gas pump was here and this man was right here. So literally this man can get out of his car and Lord knows what he can do. As I'm ready to lift up the gas pump handle, I noticed that the little computer thing tells me that the gas station system is rebooting, and I'm super paranoid. I have nothing on me. Like, I didn't bring my pepper spray, I didn't bring anything, and now I have to freaking wait out here because my card was already input. I literally just pressed canceled in hopes that it would just cancel once it was done rebooting. And then I went to the gas pump that was in front of the one that I was at, and tell me why the guy that was in the white Tahoe turned on his car and he parks right behind me.
Really quickly, I want to interfere because I truly believe that this man was here to see who he would find alone, whether it was me or somebody else. Because one, if he really needed gas as badly, he would have not waited 20 minutes until he seen me struggling to put gas, you know, like instead of him parking at Wendy's, he would have just went to go put gas. But the fact that he drove into the gas station, driving really slow, looking around, definitely makes me feel like he was there to harm somebody.
Whenever the Tahoe pulled up behind me, the guy got out of the car, he looked at me, and he immediately went inside of like the market, and I noticed that he had cash in his hand. So I was like, okay, he's probably gonna pay with cash because he knows that this system was not taking card. I don't know where this lady came from, but there was a lady inside of this white Tahoe, and I remember she was like, hey, excuse me. I remember you guys in the very beginning when I told you that the only people that I seen in the car when the guy was driving slow was the guy and a dog. Like, I don't know where this girl came from. So this lady is slowly getting out of the Tahoe, and then as I seen her getting out, I'm kind of going inside the car because I was like, oh no, like what if this is the setup? Because I've heard that there have been a lot of kidnappings where they involve the girls, and I was not about to fall for it. Like, dude, I already screwed up. Like, I should never even went to the gas station in the first place at 1 a.m. So there was already a lot of red flags that I decided to ignore. So her just having a conversation with me and then proceeding to ask me if she can get in my car so I can take her to a location was very strange. I was like, absolutely not. I was like, sorry ma'am, I have to go. I literally turned on my car and I left. Like, I truly believe, and to this day I feel like they sent this lady to come have a conversation with me so she can recruit me and end up kidnapping me or doing whatever. Honestly, I'm super grateful that I am safe and nothing happened to me. And to this day I think about the lady because I was like, what if she was in danger? But at the same time, you just never know because you can be so nice to the wrong people and literally your life can end just by making one simple decision. And girl, I trusted my gut on this one, and I just hope and pray that she is okay. But I honestly didn't have a great feeling about it, so I took my ass back to work, and that was the end of that.
Am I in the wrong for canceling our apartment signing after I found out that my boyfriend bought an expensive car? My boyfriend, 31 male, and I, 28 female, have been together for over 2 years. We have been living with roommates and been looking to move in for a while. It's expensive, and I have a dog, so it's been difficult finding a landlord that would be okay with a dog. My friend has been moving out and she has a dog and is willing to sublet for us. The landlord said they're okay with signing us if you want to stay after an 8-month sublet. It's a fairly good price near work, so I'm happy with it. We went through the credit check and we're about to sign it, but recently I discovered that my boyfriend bought another car. He already has a daily driver, but wants a weekend car, which I personally find ridiculous why anyone would need 2 cars. He has a Honda Accord, that's fine, and he's never complained about any problems with it. But recently he said that he bought another car. He isn't the best with money. He really likes to spend till the last dollar and doesn't have any savings. I've had to bail him out twice on rent. We both pay around a little over $1,000 plus utilities, and he makes around $70,000 a year, so he should have savings, but he doesn't. He did pay me back, but it was months later than what we agreed upon. So I wasn't really happy that he did that, but I didn't realize that he bought such an expensive car. He didn't show it to me until Saturday when he picked me up in a Corvette. I didn't know what model it is, but I asked him how much it was, and he said it wasn't my business, and I was pissed off that he bought a clearly expensive car. He admitted later, because I refused to let it go, that it was $42,000 and he had traded in his Honda. Even then, his payments are almost $800 a month. I was so mad that he did that, especially because he asked me to cover the part of his share for the apartment security deposit a week before he bought the car. I called my friend and apologized. I told her that I can't sign the lease and she was okay with it. I hadn't paid the deposit yet, thankfully, and my roommate is okay with me staying, so I'm good. But my boyfriend's lease is ending and the landlord wants him out, so he's mad at me for canceling us moving in together because he still needs to move and he'll probably be paying more than if we moved in together. He yelled at me for butting into his business, saying it's not my business what he buys. I think it's fair, but he also doesn't have any money and bought an expensive car, so if anything goes wrong, I have to pay his share of rent. So am I in the wrong?